Good morning, everyone. My name is Kate, and welcome to my channel. If you are following me at all, or if you're not, welcome to my spot here. Trinergy Awakens Naturally. I am an energy healer and an energy channeler and an intuitive, a high sensitive, a weirdo. And the reason that I'm here right at this very moment is because I just sat down and was listening to one of my favorite oracle readers and had the inspiration get started talking right now. Last night I made a video about the new moon in Aries, which is today, April 11th, 2021 at 10:31 p.m. This the new moon in Aries is very powerful about setting your intentions and going forward. And how would you like to grab a hold of that RAM and make that synergy work in Trinergy in the best way that serves thee? And when it serves humanity, it serves me, and that's my best place to be, is when I'm looking at my synergy and how I can bring my mission and my message forward, because that's my intention. Now, I got up this morning, I woke up very early. Excuse me, I'm having some eyeball issues. Got a hair in my eye, scales, removed them, the mote in my eye. That I woke up very early this morning. I had only been asleep for a few hours, and I didn't really want to get up, but felt that push to go ahead and get up. And I've taken care of a few things, and would you not know it, here's the renewal, the intention, put everything out there. Today's an important day. For me personally, that I take that new moon in Aries pretty seriously, because I'm at a precipice for making huge change in my life, that it's a legal process, and I have until May 1st to find new housing and a new way of life and a new way to do it and keep everything together following a divorce and some ugly proceedings and some fairly awful behavior from other people. That it's okay, I can heal from that, and it's just time that I need to be working on the logistics of what's the new plan, and I don't have time to get stopping with Stan about what he's butthurt about or whatever, including me. I don't have any time inside of me for any kind of butthurt or hystery review. There's no time. So I woke up and I'm listening to my divine say, get on up there and start doing what you need to do. Start, your morning and start your rituals. And would you not know it, what's going to make it most easy to do is to have it pour down rain, lightning, thundering. I live in Florida, native Floridian, third generation, and it's very common to have rainstorms and electrical storms, etc., and lightning is not uncommon. However, there has not been a storm for weeks at least, and probably a couple months is more like it. We went through kind of a dry spell, very humid and cracked hands and lizard, and it was quite an interesting time of drying up and drying out. And all of a sudden today, when it's new moon in Aries, it's a brand new start, putting down those intentions. And what's the backlash on that is, are you sure? And heaven and earth are clashing, right? And there's stuff coming up from the bottom and stuff coming down from the top, and it's clashing. Those two ideas, those two ways of being in me are portraying themselves quite nicely through Mother Nature and divinity, saying, yeah, there's going to be some clashes and some flashes and some bangs and some loud noise, and it's all right. Just keep on going, keep on cooking, keep on booking, and keep on looking, because I can't allow rain to stop me. I can't allow lightning to stop me. I can allow, however, my monkey mind, or anybody that I've allowed to sit in the positions of control in my mind, to stop me. I can allow them to slow me down by buying into their bull stuff and acting like a clown. I can do that. I can allow past hurt. I can allow past pain. I can allow current stuff that if I opened the door. And that's why I'm a very solitary figure. Once I started going through the process of divorce, my whole way of life changed, and I have been a very solitary creature ever since for the last 2.5 years, and it has been the best renewal of everything that I am about, to find out that I'm not the clingy, needy, sack of blah, blah, blah that I had been defined as. And when I started really getting in charge of, who do I have up there in number one and Picard positions up here in my mission control room? Because I need to put the kibosh on that immediately. When I look inside and I see faces in the places where I'm supposed to be there, not anybody else, I'm supposed to be there. And when I can automatically put a name to it, then I started clearing out mission control and said, nothing else has worked so far. So let me just go ahead and I'll take command of my ship there, Bob. Thanks, you're fired. I'll take it from here. Thanks, I got command. And it sounds perhaps kind of strange and it sounds perhaps kind of bizarre. However, I go through rituals, I go through sacred practice, I go through prayers that download to me from divinity, and rarely do I question any longer. As soon as I was able to open up the floodgates, crack open that mind, just the slightest bit, it was a floodgate. And I have to be careful to monitor that energy as it's coming in and flowing through me. However, it is a sweet reprieve to know that I'm alone and I'm at the happiest place I have been since I was a young child, reminding myself what it was like to actually take the rainstorm, the clouds and the thunder and the lightning that I really enjoyed as a kid, because I equally enjoyed being outside in the sunshine. Growing up in Daytona Beach, Florida, man, I was all about the beach and being outside, playing, really bonding with Mother Nature and being close to Earth and bonding with her and all of her resources and being so delighted and curious about, what's that? Not so much on the academia side, I wasn't so successful in the school setting. However, the school of life, the fun one, not that combat style, was just fascinating to me. And returning back to that I wanted to get out on here and just say that as you're starting your day, are you able to find that place in you? It exists somewhere where you have a curious child, a piqued interest in something besides, the things that don't serve you and don't nourish and feed your soul. And I'm able to take the first grumblings of, oh, it's raining, it's thunder, it's lightning, and it got kind of scary. My dogs freaked out. They're not the bravest dogs in the world. You'd think they hadn't lived in Florida ever, and they've lived their whole lives in Florida. They're only 3 or 4 years old, and they've been here the whole entire time with me from puppies, and they are terrified still. We've been through a number of hurricanes. They're still terrified. And the way that I can really, sabotage my whole entire day and ruin the whole Aries experience, new moon and Aries experience, is to allow their fear to knock me off my course, or their anxiety, or trigger my anxiety of previous living and misunderstanding of myself and what I'm truly about, that I can instantly have Millie Moo Moo be in Captain Picard position and Henry Doodles in number 1, and they're going to run amok, and my ship's going to go whoosh, right to the ground. And so I was sitting here and I thought, I'm listening to one of my favorite oracle readers, because that's what I do to comfort me and comfort myself after I've done my immediate protocol of affirmations. I don't care if I sound stupid. I don't care if anybody would laugh. I don't care what anybody would say. I don't have anybody in my way, so I can say it out loud. And I can do what I need to do and have my sacred practice and act like a nerd, act like a dork, act like a weirdo. And I don't have anybody that's, pounding me from the outside. And once I cleared out mission control from the inside, those drop-ins from dogs who want to go, oh, I think I need to, and start controlling me because I've released command of my, Captain Picard spot and number 1 spot. I've released it to the dog who's going to run me up a pole with their anxiety and their need to come inside really quickly. I don't want to go outside. You toilet out there. It's not an option for you to bring your fear in here and crap on the floor. That's just not going to work. I'm not going to allow that. And I can help them get through not only their fear, it helps me to get through that trigger response. As I was listening to Truth Tarot on YouTube, she was talking about that it's not that, you're not healed necessarily in an area. It's that you can be easily triggered back to that place where, things used to be chaotic, when things used to be out of control. And that was pretty much, for a long period of my adult life, over 30 years of listening and really getting indoctrinated and marinated and further away from what I knew to be the real me, the most productive and fun and free part of me. The older I got, we tend to separate from that spot because that's just the way it is, that we're drilled out of our childhood experience early. Some of us, a lot of us, most of us, because of world circumstances. It's just the ever-increasing violence, the ever-increasing anxiety, the ever-increasing diagnoses of how our bodies are trying to respond to all the trauma and the, negative input and the traumatic input and the sexualized input. I mean, all kinds of stuff that's just really harsh on the human soul. And if you're a high sensitive, or even if you're not, I mean, anybody that's got feelings is going to be affected by that. And me personally, I have autism. I am an intuitive, and I am a high sensitive. I mean, you can label it any number of things, and it means that I've had to really work on being very careful with my energetic borders about not hanging stuff out there, and don't leave any little doorknobs for anybody to come by and, hang some garbage on me like a dog that's got some intense anxiety about being outside. And it's only lightning, dude. You got to go now, or you're really going to hate it whenever you're going to be crossing your legs back there and you're not allowed to go outside, or you won't go outside because it's pouring rain, and now it's lightning, and raining, and the winds are picking up, and, we haven't even hit hurricane season yet. So I take that perspective and shift it around and say, yeah, I'm listening to Truth Tarot. Thank you, ma'am. But let me change that up for a minute and help Henry and Millie grab a minute of empowerment for themselves, that they're not going to believe that they can be empowered if they don't know that I can. And if I'm busy being triggered into, what are you doing? In 1111, thank you. If I'm busy noticing that and not the 1111s, then that's an easier frequency to get to. It's a kind of a grab and growl, dine and dash experience. Anger and fear and all those are easy vibrations to get to. They're low and you don't have to stretch very far to get them. And I like to challenge myself to, can we find a more efficient way to do this before I just give up and don't want to do anything at all? And that's not going to work for me. I have stuff that I really want to do, and I don't want to get hung up in the doo-doo. So I'm much more believable if I can help them by centering myself and saying, how can I appreciate what's going on? And I remembered, all the times of being outside in the sun and then just being so comforted by a rainstorm that was a perfect time for a child that was constantly on the run, ADD type, man, blah, 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 a number of diagnoses, and who cares, that I was constantly on the run. However, when the rainstorm came and the sun was going to go, take its leave for a little bit, it was a perfect time for me to power down and crawl into. It's the favorite thing I've ever experienced. My favorite all-time experience with taking a nap is to get into fresh, clean, crisp sheets. And occasionally my mom used to hang them out on the dry on the clothesline outside. And those were the best because they were like popped and smelled like linen fresh, the old-fashioned way. And make the bed, and they would just smell so crisp and clean and linen-y and fresh. And yet there would be the dichotomy of outside, rain, thunder, lightning, and that very regular rhythmic pounding of the rain and the occasional and the pounding of the rumbling of the clouds and what have you, and the lighting up of the sky. I wasn't ever scared of that as a child. It really didn't scare me. I grew up in Florida. We had hurricanes. I was used to, some rain. And so I was very indoctrinated into that, 1313. I was very indoctrinated into that, and I really enjoyed it. And so hooking back up to who and what I was then is the same who and what I am now. I'm just wrapping my, mature self around that. And boy, peeling that off and saying that mature self, that's not everything that I am, and that's not even the best part of what I am, and I don't believe that's the best part of anybody. So I can't speak for anybody else. I'll just speak for myself and say when Truth Tarot made that comment about, you can be easily triggered, I said, oh, thank you, Divinity, for speaking to me and for bringing me the opportunity to flip that around. Change your perspective, Kate. What would you like to experience of this? What would you like to know of this besides the frustration? That's an easy one to get to. Did you want to go, beyond the level of gravity testing to throw yourself out of a building and say, yep, checks, that's gravity, splat? I like to be a little more refined in my learning, and combat learning, not so much. Thanks. That's a real pain. 1414. That's a real pain in the And I don't like to cry and die and not figure out the lesson. So I decided, okay, in this new moon in Aries, you're not going to screw it up for me, not Mother Nature. I mean, I was out there kind of like, no, you're not going to take this from me, and realize nobody can. You have no power over me. Like the Labyrinth video, you have no power over me, dude. You have no power over me. And it can feel like it. It can feel like like I'm buffaloing myself sometimes, and my words are still going to come out of my mouth because it's got to debug and deprogram years and years and years of bad input that was just wrong. That's wrong equation going into Catherine. She's going to be spitting out wrong belief. And so it takes some debugging and deprogramming. And that's what I'm working on. And so claiming my victory and hoping that you'll take the opportunity to claim your victory too, and refuse to allow anyone to take away your experience of something that brings you joy, because they can't take away your experience of the rage or anything else either. However, they can dogpile with you, and it's just going to continue to sink and sink and sink and take all of you down, all of us down. And it's just not for me. I don't find that to be a very lovely place to be. And so this was just a chance for me to give a shout out to Truth Tarot and say thank you. You have made an enormous change in my life by giving me the guidance I needed to hear. And it wasn't even my reading. Technically, I'm intuitive. I listened to Hago right there, and she could have said the same thing in 12 other videos. I have no idea. I just know that she said exactly what I needed to hear right then, and that was my coping tool, is how can I grab a minute? Well, let's go listen to a friend, and she's going to tell you. It's very easy to get triggered back there, and you may feel like you're not healed, and that is exactly the shame, blame, and game that I was going down, that little train of, oh, I must not, what, I must have, what. Nah, you're getting triggered back to an old frequency that there's no reason to fall down into that well there, baby. Get up out of it, you know, and don't allow yourself to fall into it to begin with, because once you're down the well, it can be quite hell to get back up, and can feel like it's going to take forever, and it did feel like it did. So I avoid those falling into the well. Timmy's in the well, Lassie. I avoid those all the way. So thank you very much, Truth Tarot. This is just a reminder to me, to you, to anybody that could hear it, would hear it, and is willing to raise your frequency as far as you can. Might be hard to go from the well all the way up to the attic, so you maybe want to take those gradual steps. And the best way I know how is to grab a hold of a minute and go all to town with it and say, I think I'll take command of my ship, and here's how. And let divinity, Mother Nature, and your beautiful insides tell you, because you're programmed already just like I am. I don't have something more than you have. I'm just really willing to pay more attention to that than I am some fictional character, Picard #1, dressed as whoever my biggest boogeyman of the past was. And there were way too many, and not nearly enough, you know, of my face in my own head about, I'll take command of that, and I'll be in charge. And it wasn't to buck and scream against the what was being told to me by those critical parent types, the archetypes in my head. It wasn't to just go, you know, crazy wild with do the opposite. Sometimes it was. That's called rebellious phase, and, you know, like a rebellious teenager. And I didn't find that really worked, because sometimes information that would come in, even from those archetypes, would actually be helpful. However, it needs to be vetted through me and through my divinity. And so I'm going to encourage you, and I'll be on several times today to help remind, in this new moon in Aries 2021, April 11th, 2021 at 10:31, grab a hold of your minute, write some intentions down, and, you know, mantra and monk it all day for as long as you can, every single time, to make prayerful intention, to make mindful intention, to take very mindful steps at least some portion of your day, and then praise the heck out of yourself for yay. And I wouldn't share it with anybody, because if they're going to tell you it's stupid, well, that's dumb, they're going to help you just go right down into that well. And why the hell would you do that? So I'm going to close it now and say thank you so much for being here, and thank you for visiting the channel. I appreciate it, and I hope that your new moon in Aries experience is that you're having a good day, whether it's sunshine or not. We're going to do rainstorm, lightning storm, thunder, and rumble here for a little while. And the dogs, once they got a gist of, yeah, team leader's not lost her mind. She went, you know, kind of nuts and off the wall for a second with, and now I can pull back and say, okay, it's time to relax and chill out, because it's not going to do anything except continue to spiral and hit the ground. And I've already checked out gravity from 30 feet and 3,000 feet. I don't need to do a gravity check on that. I'd like to be a little more refined and find a way to sublime my way down and not go down. Find a way to launch myself out of that building. If I find I have, well, how about I go ahead and, let me unfurl my wings on that and not have that whole fall down into the well hell experience. So good luck to you, and may you have a blessed day as you move forward doing whatever it is you do with honor, dignity, respect, and integrity, and loving some portion of your day. Even if you can't love all day, that's a little bit unreasonable perhaps for most of us. However, find something, please, and don't put another face on it. Make sure that it's just yours and that you create your own little magic inside of you, because that's really where it's got to start. And that's your divinity calling to you and saying, hey, speak to me, because I have a lot to tell you. And I bet you, if you think about what your favorite things were to do in childhood, start there. Bet you that's a good place to know, right there. So good luck to you, and don't forget, mindful intention tonight, 10:31, new moon in Aries, if you care to participate. And if you don't, you're not late. You're not going to miss anything. Grab a hold of the moment, whether you're riding a ram in or not. Grab a hold of a moment and claim your spot. Enjoy, and good luck to you, and blessings, 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 my friends. Take care.